Welcome back to the On Therapy podcast with Simon Paul. I'm Simon Sanborn.
I'm Paul Jacobson.
Paul, how's it been?
It's good. Yeah, it's smooth. It's summer. I'm starting to get tan, so I'm loving just being in the sun and the warmth is fantastic.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I have to go on a trip here this next weekend, and I'm like going to California. I probably need to see I look like I have some sun on my face.
Mhm.
So I've been trying to get outside and walk. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But today we are talking about men and friendship,
Hmm.
and I think you and I for sure have talked probably in some aspect of this in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah.
Like we've talked about our friendship and how much we love and care for each other, and how important this bond is that we have.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good starting point. I was telling someone today, because you were expressing your thanks for our friendship at the beginning of the last podcast,
Mm.
and it was just so beautiful. And then we went into a different idea of what the podcast we went into
Yeah.
the parenting podcast, and I was
Yeah. Right.
reflecting on it. I was like, that would have been so awesome to go from that into a friendship podcast. You
Sure.
know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it'll be fun.
It will be such an important topic. You know, uh, Guys tend to have friends at times that they want to hang out with, but life gets in the way, and it can be really challenging to connect with people. And sometimes, uh, weeks turn into months, and months turn into years. And sometimes, these people we care about, we're not connecting with as much as we would like to. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think this topic is really an important one. I'm glad we decided to talk about men and friendships.
Yeah, and there's a part of me that finds not, I think all my friendships are special in a lot of senses, but the fortuitous way that we met.
Mm.
Two people that are 53 years old is how old we were when we
Yeah,
started,
yeah,
53, who are
right.
changing careers really late in life,
Hmm.
really taking the chance, taking a risk to do that, but looking for our own, happiness for ourselves and some peace for ourselves with the jobs we had. And I don't think you had a bad job, but it's
Oh,
stressful. My job was very stressful. And so I
right.
was like, oh, wow, I might have an opportunity to do something totally different that I still feel like is of service for people. And
Hmm.
so I got given some great opportunities, but meeting you the very first night of that very first group activity and you sitting down, I just really remember my mindset. I remember being like, oh God, what did I get myself into? This is going to be so difficult. How am I going to pull this off? This is going to be such a slog. And not having a lot of optimism. And
Hmm.
then you introduced
It's like,
yourself and sat
oh
down.
no, we're actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you came
Yeah.
over and said hi and sat down, and it started what this is now. It's just kind of incredible.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's going back to graduate school in your 50s is no joke. On top of trying to work full time and maintain families and yeah, it is big, but also incredibly rewarding. And I'm glad that we had other people in our cohort who were really like going all in on this program,
Mhm.
and that helped. That helped to be surrounded by other people who uh, were really putting it all on the line. And sometimes people were having to take a pause or um, having to take a break or something because it was intense. But
Mhm.
I think all those nights that we spent at Mount Mercy in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, really helped cement our friendship and several of our other friendships in the cohort
Mhm.
and our professors too.
Yeah, for sure. And you did it naturally. It's a great segue because during that time period, because it was so hard, it kind of solidified some of my other friendships that were happening. So I was like developing this new group of friends, and my life was really shifting drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the scheme of things, 2 years isn't too crazy long, but there was a lot that happened.
Yeah.
And I feel so grateful that I got to do it and that I'm a therapist, but then it also had all these residual side effects that I did not expect. I didn't expect to find another close friend in that experience with you.
Hmm.
Like, and I would even say
Yeah.
with Chelsea and Mickey and
Yeah.
some of the people in our supervisory group, right? Like those kind of things, like we are connected with something, and I consider all of them still friends for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
And like that was such a cool thing to go through that experience, but then like, oh my God, I not only got my degree and get to do this thing I think I'm going to be good at, but I have all these friends now. Like
Yeah.
and I think it's so special too that they're all friends that are therapists in a sense. And so we have similar experiences and we can share those things, which is a more connective tissue for all
Hmm.
of us as friends.
Yeah. And when we think of our friends, it's usually kind of the circle we're in. You and I were both in education and surrounded by other educators and got to be friends with people in that circle. But going to graduate school, now switching careers, it's like, man, our circle has changed. And
Hmm.
I'm curious for you, Simon, how has that impacted your friendships?
By having this new circle of friends that I am
Yeah,
connected with.
that
Okay.
transition from one to another.
Okay. Great question, Paul. I would say that it solidified some of them. Well, no, that's not true. I'm going to say it solidified the ones that really stand out of good friendships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so I have this kind of upper tier of people that were what I would consider kind of like my anchors of friendships that knew what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, some of them thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
Some people thought like, oh my God, that's the job for you. How awesome. Some people
Right.
were worried about me, and how this is all going to play out.
Right.
Some of them have been part of my life for a long time. And so it's like, do they still see me as that old version of myself? And I'm going to be, if I change, will this change our friendship? You
Right.
know? So it's a great question because I think it just made those times together even more important and they had more value to me, even though they might have been shorter time periods. Um, I'll say my good friend Shane, we were just talking about that this weekend because
Uh,
he came to my house and he said, everybody else had left. And he said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, you are such a good friend. Like
mm,
you always make time. And he felt bad like he had not done enough.
uh,
And so it was awesome because it gave me an opportunity to say, that was the part that I like counted on. I knew that you knew what I was doing and
hmm.
that you were there for me. And so when I had the space to call you and say, hey, do you have a couple hours? I want to go have a beer, or I'll come over
Yeah.
and chat for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you gave me that availability. That's how I see it. Is from my perspective, is you gave me that space that knowing how fucking crazy I was, I could still reach out to you at any point and you would connect with me. And so it was great. He was feeling bad about his part in this relationship. And then we got to have this moment where we said, like, oh my gosh, like I found so much value in what you gave me, even though you feel like you didn't give me anything. Like that was everything to know that.
Right.
And, even some more, I had the luxury of working with one of my good friends, Dan. He's a principal in almost all the schools I worked in as a teacher, all the schools I worked in as a teacher. He was my principal, like such a wonderful gift out of the universe. And so he knew was what I was doing while I was teaching. He was my principal while I was
Right.
doing this fucking crazy thing. And he just kept checking in on me. How are you doing? How are you handling all this stuff? How can I help? He was really involved that way. One of our other good friends, um, didn't see him that often anyways, but we all stayed connected. That one stayed pretty strong. So, all of them just got better,
That's
honestly.
fantastic. Hey,
Um, and I think I'm super grateful for that. Like I saw almost all of them this weekend. It was just like awesome.
yeah.
And having Shane have that conversation with me about how it was like I got the gift of you saying that to me, and then later on I got the gift of that from somebody else. And
Hmm.
then that gives me an opportunity to like validate, like, you don't know how much you mean to me, kind of thing. Like those opportunities to connect between men and be able to be kind of what we're not told to be.
Mm.
You know, we shouldn't be, if we're emotionally available or we're thoughtful or we're introspective, um, you get labeled as soft or not a real man because you have access to that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think like these opportunities are just perfect examples of where when we get the chance to feel safe or good enough to be able to express those things, there's a lot of gifts that happen in that time period.
Oh man.
I think it's a really cool thing, but how have things shifted for you with some of those friendship groups? Because I mean, you as a counselor knew everybody, and I'm
Mm.
sure you had some really tight friendships in those schools of being a teacher for so long. What was that like?
Yeah. Simon, I just want to bounce a couple things. I'll get to my experience, but I am wondering about Shane because one thing you said is that he was feeling bad for not reaching out, you know? And isn't this such a typical thing that us guys care deeply for our friends?
Mm,
They care for us. But we don't always reach out the way maybe we think we should. It's like, oh, man, I know that was really challenging for you during that time, and I probably should have given you a call or, checked in with you or gone out for a beer, whatever it might be. And I really didn't, and I wish I would have,
hmm
right? Um, and yet you are feeling like, no, Shane did a good job. He was there a lot, it sounds
hmm
like, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. And getting to hang out with him this past weekend was really great.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just so nice to be able to share. Well, for me, maybe it too was I want to take this idea that's kind of, shitty, like you weren't a good enough person, and I just want to offer you this other idea
Mm.
of what the
Wow.
experience is.
Yeah.
So, not to invalidate your experience, you want to do better, you have regrets, that makes us better friends down the road, I assume. But like
Hmm.
we can also get, or you can hold both of them. Know if you can have this one, but this is the other person's reality. And then
Ah,
you get to decide which one you want. Well, I think mine sounds pretty great. So I would replace the two. But it's so
yeah.
nice to be able to share those experiences. And I don't think that we give ourselves enough space to be able to say things like we love each other,
Mm.
and really mean that. Because I think your point about men feel things deeply is a truism. I don't think that's
Yeah.
anything that necessarily
Sure.
defines us from women, I don't think, in a lot of senses. But
Yeah.
I think us being able to show up like that can really be it's such a bonding thing. It's like such a connective. I see that a lot with connective tissue to
Yeah.
what it makes up our friend groups. And like now all the data is showing, and we'll talk a little bit about Scott Galloway's book on being a man, but there's a whole chapter on friendship.
Mm.
And the first part of it's kind of a doomsday-ish, but it just gets to the point of we only function in groups of people. And we only function truly the best when we are connected to more than five people that are really close to us.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty stark kind of honest ways of thinking about it. Like it's for your health.
Right. Yeah. And we men can kind of be in a bind where some of us do have five or more friends that we'd love to hang out with. And some men feel like, the years have gone by and I don't really get along. Maybe I'm not super close to the people I work with. I don't really have, like, I don't talk to my neighbors. Sometimes men get to this point where, man, I don't even feel like I have friends to hang out with.
Mm,
I've been working nonstop. I've been raising my kids. And I just haven't really hung out, really. I might have acquaintances, but are
right.
they really friends? And that can be a challenging thing for someone to experience because man, we do need connection. We do need those friends that we can actually be pretty real with.
Yeah, and I don't know why the stats stand out to me too when it comes to this stuff. Maybe because it's not so, I don't know, concrete, or it has to do with our mental health and how we communicate, or it's kind of minimized in some way. But to know, I think my note fell, but I think that I want to say that it's like being not having any friends is like smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And
Ah,
that was some statistic. I can't remember where it was. I should probably be able to cite it. But it's from his book, and I was like, oh my goodness. Men feel twice the amount of depression when they don't have friends. Like
yeah.
it's like across the board. And it makes me,
Wow.
when he was stating all these things, because I listened to it, it made me think of like, what's that going to be like for a generation that's kind of grown up with a disconnect in a sense, I think, with technology.
Yeah.
And so I think it's then, so when I was thinking about that, I was like, that makes it even more important that they get to see models around them
Mm.
of men being, I don't know, vulnerable or kind and loving, or whatever you want to state. I just think it'd be such a good model for our kids.
Hmm. Right. Well, and there's plenty of people who work from home and they have a hard time getting out. It's comfortable being at home, but then, work at home, it's like you never leave. It's like work is just always there. And so it can be so taxing sometimes to be able um to just go out and hang out or to meet new people. When you're actually maybe working face to face, uh, you might actually be able to, have more friends and have more in common with these people and go out after work or whatever it might be or celebrate an anniversary or birthday or whatever it might be. But
Mm.
work from home could really damper some of that, where it's just harder to connect.
Yeah, and I mean, I can remember the uncomfortable feeling of telling you that I loved you. I can still remember that.
Hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
I don't know if it was an article or a book we had to read in class or something. I forget what it was, but something struck me of like, why does that seem like such a difficult thing to do? Like,
Hmm.
what's so hard about that? We can tell lots of people in our lives we love them and care about them. Why is that such a difficult thing to do?
Yeah.
Um, and so it kind of inspired me a little bit because after you made that comment to me and we got done with that podcast, I sent every single friend of mine a voice message on
Mm.
my phone,
Yeah.
including you, because
Yeah.
I was like, I just felt so inspired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By just that simple exchange.
Hmm.
And it spurred all kinds of responses.
Hmm.
I mean, all kinds of responses from people of like, oh my God, you can't imagine how much I needed to hear that today. Or, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
hey man, thanks for reaching out. I appreciate it. Or
Right.
somebody saying like, dude, I'm going to see you like day after tomorrow. Stop texting me shit. Like you got, I got the whole gamut of it, but it was like, that was such a, I don't know. It's such a available, now that I feel more open to be able to express these things, the more expansive it's gotten. It
Yeah.
feels like I
Yeah.
feel just more connected in the universe or something because I got to validate for myself maybe all of these people that have been with me for so long.
Right. Well, and Simon, we were at Mount Mercy in Cedar Rapids getting our degree. And one night it just dawned on me, why is it that we, in our culture, that the word love, we think of it so much as maybe love for our parents, love for our partner, right? Love for our kids. But it's almost like something that could be awkward for some people to say to a friend. And why is that? Right? And that really kind of perturbed me at the time
Hmm.
is I think we need to be able to say to our friends that, hey, I I love you, man. I'm so grateful.
Hmm.
Um, that night I remember going to a funeral, and we unfortunately I've lost some classmates recently and gone to too many funerals for my classmates. And you know, there's a group of us guys, we're all hugging each other, saying, "Oh man, I love you, Matt. So grateful for you." And it took funerals to be able to actually say to these guys, "Hey, man, I love you.
Mm.
I appreciate you." It gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, me too.
Like, why is it that we hold back on being able to share that, man, these people are important to us?
Yeah, because I mean, I think the stat, I think I might have this one says that men are a lot less likely to reach out to friends for emotional support.
Mm, yeah.
And so, I think that then kind of leans a little bit back towards society of like, we should know what we're doing all the time. We should know how to fix everything.
Hmm.
We're providers, we're protectors. There's like so many things at play. Um, yeah, it's just kind of wild to think that such a simple act is such a hard thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
because I can still feel it, that part of me when I'm saying it.
Yep.
And I get to be like, what's that part of, what's that about? Because the
Hmm.
crazy thing is that my dad is like this really warm, loving, like he's a perfect model about how to be a man, I think.
Uh-huh.
Thoughtful, caring, loving, very warm. Um, And I wasn't like that when I was a parent. I
Mhm.
mean, I am now, but I wasn't when I feel like it mattered, is that I
Yeah.
still had all these models of how to be, right? With my dad, like, hugs everybody, really got great guy. And so it's like, did I not pick up on that? You know what I mean? Or did I pick up on the wrong messages, so to speak, of like, oh, we don't do that,
Mm.
that kind of thing. I don't know, but um I'm so glad I discovered it again, I guess is probably because
Yeah.
I know I was like that as a kid. So at some point it stopped, but I don't know where.
Yeah. Yeah. Simon, I am a guy who, I've always felt my feelings and feel like I can empathize with people well and talk about feelings. But, as a therapist and a friend of a lot of guys, I know that some people just don't know what to say. It's like there's no words. It's like I know my friend is going through this, but if I called him, I wouldn't even know what to do. I wouldn't know what to say. And and that can be a hard place because you care about these people, but it's like, man, I don't even know what I'd say if I did
Mhm.
call Matt, let's say, or Simon, that can be challenging. You have any advice on that? To if you were to reach out to a friend who's going through something that, um, what would you suggest?
Hmm. Well, you didn't ask for advice, but I would solicit the advice of like, there's not a right way of doing it. So don't worry so much about how
Hmm.
you do it.
Uh-huh.
It's the doing that matters.
Oh man, I
Um,
love that. That's
it
so
is
true.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be clunky and gross looking, but like it doesn't matter because the intent is what matters. And so I
Yeah.
think that if you go into it, I could reach out to you and say, God, what a good question. Hey, was thinking about you.
Huh.
I hope things are going okay. Even if you know something's up and something's wrong, you can initiate it by saying, "Hey, I just want to check in, see how things are going." And then if they come back to you with like, I'm fine. Why? Well, I kind of heard it through the grapevine, or I heard some things are kind of happening at work, and I'm just checking on you to see how things are going. And I think that you don't have to expect anything back. Like it just the reaching out part is the connective part of that for us.
Right.
Sure, we
Yeah.
want to be helpful and thoughtful. That's all fair. But it really is, it's an opportunity for us to love and care about somebody else, which is just as important in a
Right.
friendship as to what we get. That's what we're
Sure.
giving these friendships to.
Yeah, that man, that means so much too. It's not like
Mm.
you have to have the magic words, right? It's just making that call or text even or stopping by can really just mean so much.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if this is, I'm sure there's science, but like I think that by somebody else reaching out to you, something in our subconscious catches it or takes it in as somebody's thinking about me.
Mhm.
And I think just so that's why I think that just the reaching out is such an important thing is that yes, it's good for us, but like you are kind of informing them, whether they want to identify it or not, that you care about.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be, yeah, it doesn't have to be anything specific. It just needs to be a giving thing of checking in.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has to, yeah, because maybe that's what we're scared of too, is it's going to be some big, dramatic, scary thing that we can't fix or help with. And that's possible.
Yeah.
But it's just as likely that there's something that you could do to help.
Hmm. This is reminding me, Simon, in my 20s, I had a pastor who I hung out with a lot, and he was a people magnet. I just we'd go out to eat, and people would just keep coming up to him all the time and just interrupting our meal and talking to him because he just made everybody feel good.
Hmm.
I remember one thing he would say is, let's say I saw him on the street and he would say, "Hey, Paul, how's it going?" "Oh, John, it's going good. It's going good." He'd look at me sometimes with a pause, go, "Hmm, how are things really going for you?" And it's like it just open the floodgates sometimes. Like, well,
Hmm.
actually, things suck right now. I just bounced a check or whatever. It's like, oh no, things aren't actually going that great. And it just opened the door for me to be real
Hmm.
uh, when he kind of did that double take of, well, actually, Paul, how are you actually doing? That was really helpful to me, and I saw him do that frequently. Because in our culture, we do tend to say, "Oh, everything's fine. Oh, it's all good," when actually,
Hmm.
uh, no, actually, my wife just got diagnosed with cancer. So, no, I'm not actually doing
Hmm.
that great. So, thank you for asking. We can be going through stuff that, um, you know, we 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 kind of just keep to ourselves sometimes, except when people, are really caring and they actually do want to know how we're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, if you're okay with it, I would love to know how you're doing right now. How
Yeah,
how are you doing right now?
yeah. And this is something we work on in therapy, right? Is holding two opposing things at the same time.
Mm.
Life is good. Tammy and I are doing great. I love working with my clients. I love the weather. It's beautiful out there. Really enjoyed spending time with some friends and family lately. And things are really hard. You know, Tammy has been diagnosed with cancer, and the prognosis is good. And I think we're going to get through this, um, you know, with as little pain as possible, but it is painful.
Mm.
So yeah, things are good and really stressful and hard and scary at the same time too.
Mm.
Um, and I think I appreciate you asking because it's just how you said it is so important. How we word this to our friends. It's like, and you know, how are you doing through this? It's a good question because it does open the door. And um, Simon, I'll just share quickly. Um, I had a friend that lost both of her daughters in a car accident.
Mm.
Went to the visitation,
Mm.
and it was just absolutely heart-wrenching. And I'm in line, with another 100, 200 people. And I get up to my friend and I just look at them. It's like just sadness and
Mm.
grief. and just such weight. And, we just both just shook our heads like, no, there's just no words. And I, you know, gave him a big hug and um, just held on. It's like, sometimes it doesn't take words.
Mm.
Sometimes you just need to give each other a big hug and just know that, hey, I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
It can be helpful.
Wow. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. What a moment to get to experience.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
and the horror. I mean,
Our,
but you got
our
to
kids are so important to us.
hmm
And there were no words. But to know that friends are there, they show up and um, give you a hug when you need it, which is, another thing, Simon, I think that we should talk about sometime too is just the importance of hugs between men.
mm,
Some guys are big huggers, others aren't. But touch is an important thing for humans. I don't know,
hmm
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love hugs. So you're asking about something I'm really good at and I like doing. Sorry, my brain's just kind of having to slowly shift into a different way of thinking.
Hmm. All right, take your
It
time,
was a
man.
very heartfelt moment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um, what was your question
it is.
again? What was your question again? I'm so sorry. I totally
Uh,
lost my brain. Oh,
I
hugging. I'm
get it.
sorry. Hugging.
Well,
Okay.
that and we're just talking about,
Mhm.
some
Physical
some
touch.
hard things, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I go from, my wife having cancer to a friend losing both of his daughters.
Mm.
Hard things.
Yeah.
Hard things.
Yeah. I think physical touch is an absolute necessity to be a human being,
Yeah.
honestly. I hug all my friends. It makes me curious now though if I'm the hugger or if they're the hugger, but you never know. It could be both. I know that I love hugging my friends.
Mhm.
Uh, I hug you every time I see you.
Yep.
I hug Shane every time I see him. I hug Jessica every time I see her. Um, yeah, I mean, even my peripheral friends know that I'm a hugger. It's
Yeah.
just it's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And more recently, I've got a chance to do that and tell them in their ear that I love them and care about them. I'm so glad they're there.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just
And
oh my
how
gosh, I
is
could
that?
not imagine not hugging. If somebody said you have to stop hugging for a year, that
Oh,
would be really, really difficult for me to pull off.
Simon, when you say that you love one of your friends, how is that for them?
Another good question. I gotta get some good questions for you, Paul. Um,
Sorry.
I think that
We're
no,
there.
you're
So
on
yeah.
fire. You're on fire today. God, what a great question. I've never gotten a bad response.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think if anything, I get I love you back.
Yeah.
Most
Right.
often I get an I love you back.
Yeah.
Like I said, most of them know I'm a hugger anyways, so me adding a little more fluff to it's probably not that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, I've added that to all my hugging.
Well, so Simon, most of us, and now, here I'm about to shed a tear on this one too, is, most of us guys have lost people in our life
Mm,
who are very, very close to us. And wouldn't it be great to be able to have the opportunity to go to them and let them know how much we actually love them and care,
hmm
right? And so why do we hold back with our friends that are right here? We should let
hmm
them know that
Yeah.
we love them and care for them. It's important, right?
hmm
Because they need to hear it. We all need to hear that our friends really do love us and care for us and want to be there. Even if there's, all kinds of hurdles that are in the way for us to hang out or chats, life gets busy sometimes, but we also really care for each other.
Yeah, and one thing I've done for myself is I've been kind of tapping into my impulsivity. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
And when somebody comes into my mind,
Mm.
my kids, my friends, my family, stuff like that, like
Yes.
I I don't know, consider it a gift from the universe kind of moment. And
Yeah.
so I think I've become more present to those opportunities. And
Hmm.
so now every time it comes up, if I have space, I call. If I don't, I text. And I've adapted it so that if I have thoughts about my mom, like, oh, I should call my mom, which is still a new thing, and her not being here for that,
Mm.
I go, okay, she's not here, I'll call the other one. So I then call my dad.
Mm.
So when I have these moments, I will send a text, or I love those little voice messages. You know how much we love sending those back and forth.
Yeah. Right.
I'll send one of those. That takes 30 seconds and they get to hear your voice, you
Yeah.
know? So I don't know. I honestly think it's just part of who I am. That part, it seems so
Very cool.
natural kind of part of myself,
Yeah.
which I'm super grateful for. But yeah, I mean, I think at times it has been put on reserve, or I didn't feel comfortable, or whatever. And now, and maybe it's because we're old, like I just don't fucking care anymore. Like I'm not gonna wait for them to be dead for them to know this stuff, like you were saying. Like I'm just and then what's holding me back from why would I not want to reach out and tell these people how much they mean to me? That to me, it just sounds like a no-brainer, but I didn't come to that instantaneously. It took me a while. But now it's just like, what am I waiting for? I'm gonna do something else instead of taking 30 seconds to tell somebody when they pop in your mind. Like that's a really cool thing. I think it's awesome to lean into. I really like doing it. It's like the nice part of my day. Oh, I'm sorry. My whole day is pretty fucking great. I really enjoy I really enjoy that part of my day too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And, I'm grateful. I was bringing up earlier this group of guys from my graduating class,
Mm.
and we have a big group text, and it's great. We're on purpose trying to meet more, at least once or twice during the summer,
Mm.
and it's great. Those things are important for us to be able to do.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so nice to have people to reach out to. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what it is about giving that that part of it. I mean, because I mean, there's an aspect of it that feels a little selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get so much out of doing it. Now, I don't think selfish is the right word, but it's like it brings me so much joy to do that, to reach out to. There's an idea too there of like, oh, maybe that person's having a bad day, and I'm gonna reach out and say hi. That happens too, but more often it's just more of a spontaneous thing of like, oh,
Right?
I wonder how John's doing. Wonder what the lake's like right now. Oh, I'm thinking about John. Hey man, thinking about you. Hope you're having a good day. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
such an easy, I mean, I'm saying it's an easy thing. I know it's difficult sometimes, but it can just be a simple text to somebody. Hey, man, thinking about you. Hope you're doing good. And then just that's it. Like there doesn't have to be anything else. I think we can want something back. That's okay too. Some validation for the same thing. That's fair.
Mhm.
But I just find a lot of joy in doing that. And I don't think I'm on a group chat with all my guy friends. That would be really interesting because they all know each other,
Yeah.
but they're from throughout different parts of my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so they do converge sometimes. So, I might have to do that.
Yeah.
That'll be really interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, but what a nice support for you though. But I'm not gonna not let you get back to your other thing about how you handled your friendships at school when you transitioned out, but go ahead and finish your thought. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, one thing I feel that we could discuss is when men come to therapy. One thing that they might be seeking is how is it that I can do a better job of trying to be, I want to hang out more. I need to prioritize my friendships. I care about these people. How is it that I can do that? And I think therapy can help with kind of the process of, okay, so you want to hang out with more guys. Maybe you want more friends. You don't know who to hang out with. How
Mm,
is it that we can create a way for those things to happen. You know, and I think therapy could be really helpful for that. Um, Also, I think therapy can help with um, helping to build the courage to reach out. Like Simon, it's very apparent that it's easy for you to reach out to the guys that are really important to you. And for some people, that might not be very easy. And so how is it that we can build that courage? Because, for a lot of guys, it can feel like maybe we're being really intrusive on in somebody's life that, well, I don't want to text them. I mean, that might be kind of awkward or calling.
Mhm.
I haven't talked to that guy for 10 years, even though I'd love to be friends with him. I'd love to hang out, but I haven't talked to him for like 10 years, so it might be kind of awkward. And then, are they going to reject me? Will they even remember who I am? Maybe they've forgotten who I am, and that might be tough. Or um, it might too. Just let's say I call somebody that I want to hang out. It's like they might wonder, like, what is going on with that guy? Why did he give me a call? So these are all things that men can think about when reaching out to someone they really care about. I can, as tell this story, I can think of a few different guys that, um, I could see myself feeling some of those things if I were to reach out and want to hang out.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's such a good point that it's easier for some people than others. And I think what we're often really worried about is judgment and rejection. So I think it's still
Right.
kind of an area that can be kind of touchy because to be reaching out and texting is being vulnerable because you're opening up a door to see, how things are going. Because I mean, we can be expecting
Right.
things back for sure, for it can be helpful. But I think it can feel kind of scary
It
and you're
can.
just not quite
Right.
sure what you're going to get back. And if I'm going to reach out and be vulnerable and say, "Hey man, how are you doing? Just hadn't thought, I was just thinking about you. Hadn't talked to you in 10 years, you're not quite sure what you're going to get back." And there's a little bit, I think it's a fair amount of fear there, which I think can kind of hold us back from some of those moments too
Right.
of like, and that's why I think part of my thing is as I'm getting older, I just don't care anymore what people, if they don't get it, they don't get it. It's okay. My intent was not to cause harm. So it's like, I'm just reaching
Yeah.
out.
Right.
And so if they don't
Right.
accept it, they don't accept it, but that's not on me. So,
Yeah.
but again, I feel like that's older age kind of like,
hmm
kind of thing. But I think if you're a teenager, and I've known people that have been isolated and they're younger and they're just like, I think I'm just going to start being me and reaching out to people and seeing who I can connect with and just, hey, I'm going to the movie. Do you want to go? Or hey, I'm going to go here and go roller skating. Do you want to go? Um,
Mm.
and then being okay with like, oh no, I can't do that. Or who the hell are you? Why would I ever go roller skating with you? I mean,
Oh,
those things are possible. Um, but I think being able to have that, I don't know if it's grit or if it's resolve that by reaching out and trying to connect with people is worth the effort, even if you don't get back what you're wanting right away. And I think that's some of the things that Scott Galloway says, like we're all human and we need connection with people,
mm.
and we literally need it to be alive. Like not having connections with other people is you're dying a ton slower, or sorry, a ton faster
Yeah.
than everybody else. It's just
Yeah.
that simple truth at this point. Mental health, physical health, and every factor of what affects us, in our longevity is affected by the lack of connection we have with others. And that's, I don't know, for me, it'd be a wake-up call. If I was unsure what to do and nervous about what my responses were going to be, and I think those are all really valid feelings.
hmm
And I also think that you have the wherewithal to do it, knowing that this is going to make my life better. If I'm really
Yeah.
going to feel alive and enjoy this time period while I'm on this earth, I'm going to have to reach out and connect to people as awkward as that feels and uncertain as that feels.
Mm.
It's worth it for my health to do
Yeah.
so. I don't know. I know that there are some people out there, I'm sure listening, saying like, okay, it's a woo-woo kind of like love your friends, things like that. Like, but there's some really legitimate science at this point about our need for connection. And I think that
Sure.
somehow we've just, besides the internet, I think we just got very disconnected from each other.
Right.
Um, and then we get to decide. Now it's like, okay, I know all this shit now. So what
Hmm.
am I going to do with it? You know, maybe it takes you a while to get there, but I think just knowing that it's what it is to be human is to have connection with people.
Hmm.
Like, okay, so what should I shift and do? And like you said, to somebody who's thinking about coming into therapy, and it sounds, nerve-wracking. There are people that come to therapy with really simple kind of like, I'm really struggling in this area.
Hmm.
And can you help me understand my thinking to see why this is so tough? Right. So again, they're not broken. There's nothing wrong with them. They just want to figure this thing out and understand themselves more. And if that frees, if talking to somebody else frees you up from your ideas of judgment or rejection, well, let's see why. Why is it? Why do you feel that way about those things? What have you experienced? What have you gone through? Maybe that's informing you now, and that you might actually be able to. These are old things that you might be able to move past or understand differently, so you can have a different perspective, and maybe then you don't worry so much about judgment, and it's easier to connect with people. I mean, there are. I mean, I've had clients that only come in for 5 or 6 sessions, and
Yeah.
that's not because I'm some miracle worker. That's because they came in, were like, this is an area I want to figure out,
Mm.
and they're wanting to do the work that it requires, and we can just jump in every time we meet. The hour is made up of that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and they want to change. It's gonna happen. There's no way. There almost is no way there can't be with that kind of intent. But I think that could be real. That's an idea behind this whole idea of demystifying therapy for men is it doesn't have to be some horrible thing that you need to come in and get your understanding with. If my joints ache, I'm going to go talk to a doctor and say, hey, look at my joints and tell me what's going on.
Right. Right.
Okay, so great. He helps me out and I can move on and go play pickleball. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I get my mindset goes that way too, probably because it's taken me a while to get here and I had to do a lot of convincing of myself. But I think I got to some of those spaces over time. And that's what was so helpful about therapy is I didn't come in with this horrible problem. I wanted to understand why I was experiencing the world the way I was, and I wanted it to be different. And so I thought, okay, we'll see if this person talking to this person helps. Sweet. That's nice that it worked out. But I think I get the idea of why it's scary, but it doesn't have to be this, humongous mountain you have to climb.
Right.
Maybe you tunnel right through it. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Simon made me think of, calling up some friend, go play pickleball or go to the gym or go to a basketball game or whatever it might be. And, people are busy and it's like, I gotta watch my kids or, no, I got too much to do. I'm just too exhausted or whatever. And, when we call a friend and they can't do it, we might be understanding. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. You're busy or you're tired or, you got to watch your kids or whatever it might be. And then you call again. It's like, hey, man, I'm just checking in. Do you want to go to the gym? And it's like, oh, I can't go this time. But man, I appreciate you calling me. I'm glad that you called and invited me. And I wonder what your take is, Simon, on a situation like that. Do you? Because I I think we should keep trying. I
Hmm.
think we should keep calling this person, and uh, maybe ask them, "Hey, I'm just calling, seeing what's up. Is there you want to go do something sometime? Maybe put it on them and ask maybe what they want to do. Maybe
Hmm.
they want to do what we want to do, but maybe they want to, go to a baseball game or something like that, um, and go do that. I wonder what your thoughts are on that, because I'm sure you've had that happen.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think that when you develop really good friendships, there's a flexibility to it that is really nice.
Hmm.
Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I think having some resilience around keep trying is really important. Um, and I do think, I mean, honestly, I'm hard to imagine myself when I've reached out to somebody and not gotten a positive response. I don't
Hmm.
think I've never ever gotten a negative response from somebody I've reached out to.
Hmm.
And that's going back as far as I can, texting wise, that I can remember not having too many positive responses from me reaching out to people. And I think too, I think I don't have any science for this, but there's something biological to I reach out and say, I mean, you will connect with somebody. I just think that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's in a really bad spot, then maybe they'll tell you they're in a really bad spot. I don't know, but like, I think just reaching out is triggering this biological. There's something biological in it to me. I don't know if that's true at all, but it feels that way. And I think if we're going with all these other things about how friendship, not having friends and connected with people affects our physical health, if there's something to it that feels like when we're reaching out and trying to connect with people, we are, for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of doing what we're supposed to be doing. Like this is what we should be doing is reaching out and connecting with others. Like it's part of how we're built.
Yeah.
And I think that once you reach out, you'll be surprised at what you get back in a positive way. And it's going to be like a drug. It's going to feel like a drug
Yeah.
because I did this thing that was scary and hard, and it worked out okay. And now I have a connection with this person. And then
Mhm.
it's like, oh, wow, awesome. This is great. Well, hey, do you know so and so and so and so? Are they still in town? Oh, yeah, they work down the street. Oh my God, all five of us should get together. You don't even know how it's going to go. But I'm saying, like, once it happens and you get a connection with somebody else, I feel like it just expands from there.
Yep.
And I think that's the opportunity for people. So I think being nervous about it is super fair. But I think that the worst thing that could happen is they tell you to fuck off in a text.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you get to be there and be like, okay, I was being nice. I was being
Yep.
thoughtful. I sent a
Yep.
text and I got to fuck off back. All right. But I know what my intentions were. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not ready to hear it. That's okay. Who's next? You know?
And I agree with you, Simon. I think almost all the time you're going to get a positive response because people do want to be liked. They want connection. Uh, yes, you could potentially have somebody tell you to fuck off, but I think most of the time people are going to be pretty caring there.
Hmm.
Uh, and let's say, for example, you call this friend and I'm sorry, I got too much work to do, or no, I gotta go mow my lawn, or you're getting some of these excuses.
Hmm.
Might be a good time to say, okay, yeah, last time I called you, it was work too. How is work going? It kind of gives you an opportunity,
Hmm.
to ask about it. It's like,
Oh, true.
Man, work sounds stressful. You
Hmm.
must be really putting in a lot of hours right now. It's like, yeah, tell me about it. I'll tell you, my boss, it might just open the door.
Hmm.
Uh, and, they start talking about work or whatever it might be. Um, yeah, last windstorm, I had a bunch of siding come off my house, and I'm trying to get it back on, trying to do it myself. It's like, man, dude, that sounds really stressful and just time consuming. How is that? Are you doing okay? And it could be, just open the door, and by the end of it, it's like, actually, yeah, we do need to go bowling, or yeah, we do need to go
Hmm.
do this, or by the end of that conversation, maybe they're finding, I do need to prioritize these friendships.
Hmm.
The house can wait, or the lawn can wait another night, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point. I think like and I think it's like important to bring our partners kind of into this too. Like
Yeah,
partners can be really helpful with making sure those things happen.
mm,
Like
sure.
My wife Jen knows that pickleball 3 times a week with my friends is pretty high on the list of priorities.
Right.
And she knows that doesn't diminish my love and my affection for her. She knows it's super important for me to do that. So she just knows that the value I find in it.
Right.
And you know, she teased me about playing pickleball? Yes, she does. But um, she also knows that that's super important to me and that I need to do
Right.
that. It recharges my batteries. I see my friends. On Friday nights when I play pickleball, after pickleball, I hang out with Shane, and that's like our time every week. Um, and like I said, the cool part is I do the podcast with you before that, and then I get to go play pickleball and I get to go to hang out with Shane. So like I get
There you
this
go.
like dose of friendship on Friday afternoons that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
And
you're
you
right. I think
can,
you have to
there's
find
a
the
lot of
space.
credit there.
Okay. You have to find the space though. And I mean, you're right. It is really difficult to set aside things sometimes for others for your on your own behalf, kind of, and to do things that matter to you. And again, I think it's something that men aren't great at. We're not great at setting aside some of those things that do they have to be happening right now kind of thing. And am I just, is life living me and I'm just have my head down and I'm just going forward and I'm missing these opportunities?
Right.
I've heard lots of people talk about their regrets about looking back at their life and being like, oh my God, how could things have been different if,
Sure.
I
Well,
had come some of
especially in
these.
our age group.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking back and being like, oh my God, if I had some of these ideas and understandings now when I did back then, holy cow, would that have been nice. But they also know like I didn't have any choices necessarily in some of those things. But I think that you get this opportunity to connect with a friend and yeah, I don't know. It's the more I think about it, the more I think about like, I just can't, when those stats are about not having friends, I was just fucking just shocked. Paul, I was so shocked because I was like, how can 32% of 2,000 men that were polled say that they have three or less friends? And like 12% had no friends at all.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, it's like heartbreaking. That's how it feels to me, is it feels heartbreaking
Yeah.
because I can't even imagine being alone in this world besides my parents. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't imagine that. That's a hard one for me to think about because I'm like,
Sure.
I'd be in despair
Hmm.
for sure.
And those men who are lonely, they don't seem to be able to reach out. They're just overwhelmed by life. Um, it, it can feel like you don't really, nothing's going to change. It's like there's no hope. It's always going to
Mhm.
be this way. And that is then even more depressing, right?
Right.
You just don't see that it could change. And that is something that um, can be a great topic to go to therapy for.
Mm.
Like, dude, I just don't feel like I have any friends. I don't feel like I can hang out with people. I don't even know how to start those conversations. Um, it's it can feel like you're at a loss, right? Um, so I just want to encourage any of our listeners who are struggling with their friends, um, to know that you probably do have people in your life that maybe from your past or a past job or whatever it might be that probably have given you some thought. And it might be good to reach out to them. Um, but I get too that it can be could potentially be embarrassing or awkward, hard to do that. Uh,
Mhm.
and uh, might just feel like you can't even possibly imagine calling somebody.
Mhm.
And that's what therapy is about. It's about helping that process to make it happen.
Yeah. And I thought, we were getting close to being finished, but I thought I would also give the opportunity to for men to reach out to women. I think that we can get kind of pigeonholed sometimes, and I would be remiss to not talk about Jessica as one of my closest and dearest friends who's really helped us with this podcast.
Mhm.
Um, I would say that's probably my deepest relationship with a friend outside of my wife, probably.
Mhm.
And it's almost like saying she's close enough to be a sister. doesn't even give it its due diligence for how I feel about her. So it's kind of this amazing thing to have a friend who's also a woman, and when we can talk all kinds of, political shit and things like that, and we get each other, we don't, give each other a hard time. Like we just really enjoy our time together,
Right.
and it's a really, really special relationship to me.
Right.
And is another one that's on that list of people that just, that were always, I just knew that she was thinking about me. She knew what I was doing. She knew what I was going through. And when she thought of me, she reached out and texted me like just all the time. And we grew up together, so we have the same love of the same movies and the same music. So we have a lot. I mean, I've known her longer than anybody else. So she knows me really well, and it's a really incredible friendship that, again, just like any man that I have a friendship with, gets me, knows me, see me change, see me go through all the, divorces and all the crazy shit in my life, and we're just always there.
Yeah.
And there is something so amazing about that.
Right.
And it makes me, and again, she's one of those people I text because it's too important not to nurture it and keep it going. Like it's too important to me. And I think that I've had lots of people I know reach out to really old friends from college or even reach back into high school for friends and reconnect on Facebook or something, and you just never know. You could even be
Right.
curious. You could even go out and reach out, like you're on Facebook because you have I think I have a 30th coming up. Like, I don't know if
Mm.
it's scary, but um, you see somebody who's going and you connect with them because like, hey man, I haven't seen you for how many years? How are things going? Like you doesn't you can find another way to connect as well. So I just think there's lots of opportunities out there for men to have these connections with others that are so, so important to us, health wise, mental health wise, heart wise. I think like, having
Yeah.
these connections mean something to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know, Simon, we're about done, but it just really makes me think too of a whole nother topic
Okay.
that would probably be good for us to talk about sometime
Okay.
is men's friendships with women
Mm.
and what the boundaries are there. Um, how is that? Because they can be challenging to navigate, right?
Hmm.
Because we do have people, like I think of my sister-in-law, Sarah, who's married to my brother. It's, she's a very important person in my life. She cares for my brother, and I love her. I'm so grateful for her every day, you know? And I think it would be an interesting topic sometime to talk about is, okay, how is it that we do love women that are in our life, that are not our moms, not our wife, but we deeply care for these people.
Mm.
They've been really influential.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good point because there are some tricky dynamics sometimes,
Right.
right? And there's nothing, there's everything's platonic. Like it's nothing is bad, but people assume a lot of things or think it's
Yeah.
inappropriate that you could love somebody else but not want to be married or intimate with them. It's like, yeah, I think again goes back to a societal thing too. There's like certain expectations of things.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it might be a very interesting subject. Yeah. All right, we'll have to put that on the docket somewhere. But well, we will wrap things up for today. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to us. We know you have busy lives, and that means a lot to us that you took the opportunity to listen. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. That really helps us out quite a bit. And we just want to let you know that we love you and we care about you. And Paul, it has been a joy again.
Yeah, it's awesome, Simon. I'm so grateful for our time that we get to spend chatting and then all the planning that goes into this each week and all the texts and messages. I really appreciate it and appreciate our listeners and look forward to hearing from people
Hmm.
that have topics they'd love for us to talk about. Shoot it our way.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Have a good rest of your day or evening.
All right, take care.
Adios.